I'm gonna take you flat hunting with me. Let's go! Hi mga dzai and mga dzong! Welcome back to my channel. So today is gonna be another different kind of video again. As you know, here in my channel, this is gonna be like a mix of so many different things. And today is a first for me as well, as I'm gonna take you flat hunting with me here in London. So, quick backstory. Why am I looking for a flat? I'm looking for a one-bedroom flat for me and for my husband, who's coming over to the UK hopefully within this year. And it's just gonna be like a nice ideal place that we can have, fit for a couple. Nothing fancy but comfortable nonetheless. To be honest, this is gonna be the first time that I'm gonna be ever experiencing this whole kind of procedure, because when I first came here in the UK, this flat that I'm currently staying in is actually a key worker accommodation, and this has been arranged prior to us coming over to the UK by our trust, which is kind of amazing. This flat that I'm currently staying in is actually in a very nice location. It's in Zone 2, and most of all, it's quite near my workplace or my hospital where I'm currently working in. It's taking me around 30-40 minutes to get there, which is such a steal. I have never experienced, looking for flats before and actually going to viewings and all that stuff, so everything is basically new to me. I have asked my best friends to guide me in this process because they have had prior experiences to this. I've also looked things up online. Well, I've looked in areas immediately around the area where I'm working in, so I've looked in Wandsworth, Battersea, Hammersmith and Fulham, Putney, Wimbledon, and then I went from south to north, basically Ealing, Acton, Chiswick, around Maida Hill, Maida Vale, Williston, Harleston. I even went up to Wembley. In terms of transpo, I don't mind taking the underground if the place that I'm gonna be eventually moving in is quite far from where I'm working at, as long as it's, a reasonable compromise. I have this obnoxious orange notebook that I've been taking with me as I went flat hunting, and I have listed everything in here that I've been looking for in a flat. First, I am looking for a 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom flat. Price range would be around 1,200 to 1,250. I would probably extend it up to 1,300 if it's really worth it. That is to say, that's not including council tax and bills and all of the other things that I have to pay for. Distance, it should be nowhere farther than Zone 3 or Zone 4. In connection to that, it should have like really accessible transport links, especially at night. Buses will only travel like until a certain time of the night, and also the tubes. Not all of them are 24/7. It would be really nice to have a flat that's near, those transport links, like near a bus stop or near a tube station. But if not, as long as it's walking distance, that would be perfect. And then the next non-negotiable for me would be that the flat should be furnished at least. Since I am renting with my husband, it would be quite practical for us to move into a flat which already has like the basic furnitures in it, so we don't have to buy. And eventually when we move to the next flat or when we move to another flat, we don't have to like bring everything. Yeah, it's gonna be such a hassle. So having a flat furnished right from the start is the practical way to do it. In terms of like the white goods, I'd like to have a flat with a full fridge and freezer, a washer and dryer in a really good functioning condition. Having a dishwasher or not having a dishwasher is not really a deal breaker for me. I'm used to not using a dishwasher, so it's not really a deal breaker for me, but it would be nice to have one. I personally have an aesthetic of my own. I'd like to have clean white walls and wooden flooring. That way it just lets in a lot of light and also makes the space feel much more spacious, if that makes sense. Security, yes. The security in the building, that is very important as well. I personally am particular with that because I live in a gated community at the moment, and there have been issues in the past where security has been breached in our building, given the fact that it's already a gated community. So those are the kinds of things that I would really like to look into, and I'm very particular about that. I like to have double glazed windows because, you know, we're living in London and it's basically very noisy outside, so having double glazed windows is a must to sort of like filter out the noise from the outside, so you can have like a nice, quiet, cozy living situation going on. It's also nice to look into the energy performance rating of the property, if the landlord or if the agent can provide that up to date. It's a nice way of like looking into the quality of the fixtures and everything around the flat, so that way you know that you're not gonna pay too much if the APC rating is around C and up. So those are the kinds of properties that will help you save more in terms of like electricity and all the other shebang. I'm not a pro at this, but I've researched enough to know a little about this stuff, and it made me realize how these things can be easily overlooked. But you know, these are really the things that you really have to look into, as well as the gas electricity safety certificates. So you have to know that the electricity certificate is up to date and is not substandard. So yeah, I think that's basically what I would like to look for in a flat. So if you want to join me, stay tuned, subscribe, and I'll take you guys on the journey with me. So let's go and let's see the first flat. So quick backstory to the first flat that I viewed. I actually forgot to take a video or take photos when I first went in there. I don't know, I was just too focused in like writing stuff in my notebook, and I completely forgot to take a video. So thankfully the agent was kind enough to send me a video through WhatsApp. So this first property is somewhere in northwest London. It is a stone's throw away from the train station, which serves the Bakerloo and the Overground line. It is a new build actually, and when I went there, there's still some construction going around the area. When I went there, the building still smells of paint, but there are already residents in there. It's a very high-rise building, but the unit that we looked into or we viewed was around, I think, second floor. I completely forgot already. This flat, I forgot, is 1,350 per month. So upon entering, there's a proper concierge area, there's a waiting lounge as well, and just around the ground floor area there's like a work from home space, which is quite big, which is I think very nice for those people who are really working from home at the moment. There's an on-site salon, an on-site gym, which is free for all residents, and on top of that, the ground floor area where the concierge is also has its own cafe and bar. At the moment it's just like a cafe, but they're looking into developing it into like a proper bar during the nighttime. So it's only for residents. No outsiders are allowed, but if you're a resident, you're allowed to bring over your friends. So the building in particular, it's like a very hip, the vibe is very young, it's very youthful, and it's just very, you know, in the now. The agent also said that once you become a resident, you will have access to a tenant app, into which you would be able to pay all your bills through there. You're just gonna pay £120 on top of the rent for all of the bills. Upon entering the flat itself, I was quite surprised how small it really is in person. Immediately once you enter the door, to right is beautiful bathroom. Everything is new, so if you're gonna move in there, you're gonna be the first person to really live in the area or in the flat. There's like a small hallway there, and to your left is where your storage space is, which is basically your closet. Bedroom, as you can see, is just, you know, separated by like a glass wall partition. So it looks a lot like a studio, basically advertised as a one-bedroom flat, but it's very modern. Everything is new. It's furnished as well, and the property also provides air conditioning. So I was asking him about, you know, the glass walls by the bedroom, how to like provide privacy and stuff like that, and he said that, you know, the residents that have been living in there just put up curtains in order to provide more privacy, which I think makes sense. And he said that, you know, we are able to like drill onto walls or like stick stuff up onto the walls, because basically the property wants you to feel like you can personalize your space and, you know, make it feel like home for you. Well, the downside for this flat was that it was, you know, fairly small. It made me feel like I'm in sort of like a box. Despite all of the new fixtures, despite it being very modern, and despite all of the other amazing amenities in the building, it just felt like very cramped for the price. This property is way out of my budget. I think I would if the space was a bit bigger. And also, well, I know that properties here would really look into your annual income. So I explained to them, I was fully transparent, and I told them I'm going to be paying for the rent for the meantime until such time that my husband comes over here to the UK, and, you know, we're gonna share our bills, we're gonna split the bills. When he comes here, he's yet to find a job. And well, they were also quite straightforward and said they would not take that as an assurance, and they would like me to find a guarantor. So a guarantor is basically someone who can guarantee that you can pay, you know, the rent. There are specifications that they're looking for in a guarantor, preferably a UK homeowner and with an annual income of £40,000 and up. At first, that was one thing that became very daunting to me, and I realized how hard it is to find a flat alone when my husband is not here yet. I didn't know what to do at that point, and I was just so deflated, really. I just didn't want to bother, because that flat was basically way out of my budget, and I just moved on to the next. This next flat is also a one-bedroom flat. It's also somewhere in northwest London. It's very near the station, serving the Bakerloo and the Overground as well. It is £1,300 per month without bills and without council tax yet. I was looking through the listing in Rightmove. I was quite interested because pictures were really advertised as like really bright space, and it had the aesthetic that I really liked as well. It was just like a few bus stops away from where I currently live at the moment. So when I went to the area, it was a gated compound. There were like proper parking spaces as well, and it was just off the road. The flat was located in the ground floor. Upon entering the property, it felt like going into a dungeon. The first thing that I noticed when I went, it was much darker in person compared to how it was in the pictures. It wasn't really very cloudy that day, so maybe that's just how it is. But it was a good size. The living room was quite spacious, and there was a separate kitchen just off the side of the living room. First thing that I noticed was that all of the white goods were a bit old and a bit dirty. Storage spaces as well, where some were falling apart. Then I went to the bedroom. The bedroom was also a bit spacious. It fit a double bed. One side of the wall was just closet space, full mirrors. Some of it was a bit broken. The deal breaker for me was the bathroom. The bathroom was not in a very topsy-turvy kind of situation, and I also didn't notice any other storage space apart from the closet. Let's talk about the pros first. The flat was walking distance to the station. There was a bus stop out front. It was just off the road. If you're gonna be a resident there, you're guaranteed one free spot for the parking. It was a quiet neighborhood. There were shops nearby. It was only walking distance from the high street. So when I came to ask the agent about all of the things that I noticed that needed repairing, the agent assured that full repairs and professional cleaning will be done. I would very much love to have like an updated kitchen fixtures. The downside was it was on the ground floor, so there wasn't very much of a view. There were like grills as well on the windows. Small kitchen, outdated, no extra storage space. It was advertised as furnished, but it was just the bed and the bed frame as the furniture there. It's not fully furnished, it's just part furnished. He said that, if you're gonna move in there, you have the choice to either retain or remove all of the present furniture in there. That was kind of sad because I would have preferred like a fully furnished flat. This was the second one that I viewed, and I figured that this was a lot better in terms of like price and distance and accessibility. So I put forward an offer. It got accepted, but long story short, I did not push through with this flat because I was holding out for a better one. As of this recording, I looked online and I saw that this flat was still up for grabs. So yeah, that's the second one. Let's move on to the third. So this third flat is located in Zone 3 or Zone 4 in Northwest London as well. It's near an underground station which serves the Piccadilly line. It was extremely ideal because my workplace, the nearest underground station, serves Piccadilly and the District line, so it would have been perfect. So this was listed as one bedroom flat, costs £1,275 per month without bills and without council tax yet. Unfortunately, I would have really loved to view this flat in person, and I saw the pictures and I was like, this would have been really like my dream flat. It was high up, there was a balcony, floor-to-ceiling windows, the view was majestic, but I just didn't really have a chance to view it personally because I was scheduled to travel out of London to celebrate my birthday over the weekend. The viewing dates that were offered by the agent was during my holiday. The agent was kind enough to arrange like a video viewing for me, and she sent it to me the evening of my birthday. Right off the bat, when I watched the video that she sent, I was surprised because the flat wasn't anything like the pictures that were advertised. So it was sort of like catfishing. But to be fair, the flat was in very good condition. It was still very nice. It still had like a large balcony, but I think there was only like one or two windows. Nice spacious bedroom. I watched that video back and forth and I was like, I really wanted to get this flat. This is the flat that I wished I really could have. Balcony, the view was big and spacious, light and airy. It had like a new modern look to it. There was loads of storage on the hallway, wood flooring, fully furnished, and it was also within my budget. There was a full washer dryer, full fridge. It had a dishwasher, neutral decor, which is my aesthetic. There was a big Sainsbury's nearby. I think the only downside to it is that it was quite far, so it was around zone 3 or 4, more or less near Wembley already. Long story short, I put out an offer, but my my offer did not get accepted. I was heartbroken, really, because I really wanted that flat. What can I do? I mean, it wasn't really for me. I just had to move on and just had to accept. It was sad. I really wanted that flat. Anyway, we're on to our last one. So this is the fourth and the last that I viewed. This was quite a very late edition. It wasn't really like one of the flats that I was like initially drawn into, but at this point I was already desperate to look for flats, you know. I responded back to the agent and said that I wanted a viewing. That day, the viewing available was around 6 p.m. I was supposed to have dinner with my friends that day at 6 p.m. So I pleaded with the agent and said if there was like an earlier time where I can view the flat, to which he thankfully replied and said he would be available to view at around 5:45. So what I did was I viewed that day at 5:40 p.m. and I moved the dinner to 7 p.m. This flat is in a residential area in northwest London. It was in zone 3 and it was advertised as 1,250 per month. It was a 1-bedroom flat, and when I went to the building, first thing that I noticed was that it was just right off the road as well. There was a bus stop right out front, so it was very secured entry, and it was on the first floor. There was a lift access as well. So when I went into the flat, the first thing that I noticed was that it was really spacious. Big, nice corridor. The whole right side of it was just storage space. Proper bathroom. One large bedroom. Under bed storage. One wall was just closet space. There was a balcony right off the bedroom facing towards the street. And then when I went into the living, dining, kitchen area, so it was like an open plan concept. There was a big glazed window. Because the windows were closed, it was very quiet, even though it was just off the road, so you can't really hear all the cars zooming by. Kitchen was in very good condition. The agent said that all of the fixtures there were fairly new. The fridge was replaced just a year ago, full washer and dryer. And so I started asking questions to the agent as swiftly as I could. So I asked him about all of the furnishings, and he said that the bed is staying, as well as the side tables and the dresser, but all the other furniture was the present tenants. I clarified if the landlord would be able to provide new furniture, and he said that yes, the landlord will be happy to provide new furniture for new tenants moving in. I really liked the flat. I really liked the layout. It was a fairly spacious area for me and for my husband eventually. So, pros. So this flat was fairly near 2 stations serving both overground and Bakerloo lines. The bus stop was just like right in front of the building. It was a modern building, and the flat itself was new and modern. I feel like the building was also like quite a secured building. So there was also a communal garden at the back, which I did not get a chance to view. I was looking at it through Google Maps, and I saw that there was like a park nearby, which is also like a nice addition in terms of like the overall feel of the community. It was just a bus ride away to the high street. So basically the flat will come fully furnished once you move in there. It's just very convenient as, you know, a renter. The agent said that the landlord will be happy to repaint the whole property. There was like a big hallway storage area. So there were like 2 cupboards there, and those were all just storage. New fixtures in the kitchen. The fridge was fairly new. Hanging things in the wall were allowed as long as you're able to revert back the property to its original condition prior to renting. There was a balcony, which is just off the bedroom. Underfloor heating. Amazing. I know it's a bit much, but I feel like it's a luxury to have. And if your flat has that, I feel like it's just, you know, more comfortable that way. Underbed storage, wood flooring, big plus. I think the downside I could say was, you know, just I would have preferred the balcony to be off the living room area rather than the bedroom. but it's not really a deal breaker for me. It's still nice to have a balcony no matter where it is. There was just one big window right off the side of the living room, but it was big enough to let in lots of light anyway. And yeah, it was in zone 3. I would have preferred somewhere nearer, but then again, transport links are everywhere. So eventually, it was the last flat that I ended up putting out an offer as well. Thankfully, the landlady was kind enough to accept my offer. Long story short, I had to find a guarantor, and one of my co-workers were kind enough to stand in as my guarantor. And I went through all the referencing and I passed through the referencing. I signed my tenancy agreement and I'm moving out and moving in by the middle of this month. So quite excited and quite nervous moving out, moving into a new place. It's gonna be a whole lot of adjustment. I'm still in the process of packing things up. I am gonna take you into the journey with me as well. I'm gonna take you into the moving out process and the moving in process. I hope you guys can learn a thing or two from this video, and I will see you guys when I move out. Alright? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!